Imagine this. You escape a country that is currently at war. You come here as a refugee for a better life. You're working a regular job, you get on a train after a shift from work, all to lose your life to a bum that shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's what we're going to look at today. The media hypocrisy, like everything they refuse to talk about when it comes to the case of Irina Zarutska. And the silence is absolutely deafening. So I'm going to fill in all the parts that they refuse to talk about. We're going to be talking about some real stuff in this video. And it's just yet another grim reminder that concealed carry really is no longer an option. It's got to be mandatory if you're a gun owner and you can carry. Whatever your state processes may be and state laws are, it's no longer an option. And I find this interesting because the media is partly to blame. There's also got to be a shift in the judicial system as well. Like I said, this guy should have never even been on that train whatsoever, and yet there he was. Basically given a free pass by the judge herself. I'm going to give you my opinion. I want to hear yours. Why is the media so quiet on this specific tragedy? Let me know down below. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So like I said, Irina Zarutska, she's working a regular job. It looks like a pizzeria. She walks onto the train, she sits right down, and unprovoked, the guy behind her, you can see him pull out this pocket knife and then takes her life. Now here's one of the stunning things about all of this, right off the rip. Not a single person around her offered to help. Nobody tried to take this guy out. Obviously nobody had a firearm. There was no officer. I don't know what their security protocol is like. But this guy walked up and down the train, at one point still holding the pocket knife, by the way, and nobody offered to help. There's another video that resurfaced, unfortunately, that shows her, it just looks shocked. She puts her face in her hand, she's crying. She probably knows like she is actually just dying. She looks over to the woman to her right, and the woman over to her right looks at her, gets up, and walks away. One of the immeasurable statistics that we have in our society, unfortunately, is the lack of empathy. I couldn't imagine seeing this in real time and not trying to do something. Not saying that anybody could have even saved her, but not even trying? I simply don't get it. And here's the thing, the coward that had attacked her had been arrested 14 times since 2011. And we're not talking about just simple crimes, right? Armed robbery, making threats, misusing the 911 system. He was just released earlier this year for misuse of the 911 system. He served 5 years in prison. He had a court-mandated psychiatric evaluation that he never attended. This was not unpredictable. This was inevitable for him to do something like this. So it begs the question, why do all judges have special immunity when it comes to people like this? Now, certainly you can't hold judges when they follow the law and they try to give people second chances. I'm a big believer in that. But 14 chances, I'm sorry, that is way too much. If you're doing the same things over and over and over, second chances are one thing, but this guy is a career criminal and he just continued along the way. Chance after chance after chance. As a matter of fact, what I read before, and I don't know if this is substantiated or not, maybe you guys know, but he basically had a cashless bail, right? No bond whatsoever. It was basically on a verbal notice. Hey, the judge, hey, you gonna be a good boy? Yes, judge, I'll be a good boy. The first 13 times didn't teach me much, but this time specifically, I learned all my lessons. Now look, I'm a big believer in second chances for people in prison. And I talk about them getting the rights when they are released back out into society. But there's some pretty sobering statistics when it comes to the recidivism with people that are arrested, especially on violent charges. Within a year of people being arrested on a violent type of charge, the chances of them reoffending are like 64%. Within 5 years, it jumps to like 77%. And within 9 years, it's like 83%. You can't fix everybody. That's the simple truth of it. And while I do believe in second chances, there are some people that should be locked away forever. Actually, there's some people that quite honestly should receive the same treatment in which they perpetrated on their victims. You want to send a message across? Imagine stealing something. You lose a hand over it. I know it sounds barbaric and all that kind of stuff, But that's a way to teach some people some real lessons about breaking laws and, more importantly, hurting other people in the process or taking their lives. So while some people deserve second chances for sure, there's a lot of people that simply don't. Now, there's many different factors and layers to this and all this kind of stuff. And I believe in forgiveness. I believe in redemption, right? It can happen. But for some people, you can't legislate and you can't get the evil out of their hearts. If you don't believe evil exists, watch this video and tell me that it doesn't. If you don't think this is race motivated either, I think you're sadly mistaken as well. But when it comes to judges and how they pass down sentences, there should not be some kind of blanket immunity, because you don't have blanket immunity and I certainly don't. None of us really do, right? If cops do something wrong, typically they have to pay the consequences for that. So a judge shouldn't be held to any different standard. If you see somebody that's been arrested 13, 14 times, I mean, heck, 5, 6 times, and you're letting them back out in our society, that should be criminal negligence at the very least. And then we have the media. Now, do you remember the Daniel Penny case from a couple years ago? There was a homeless black man that was causing a scene, acting erratic. Daniel Penny, former Marine, 24 years old, I think, or 25 at the time, put this homeless guy who was acting recklessly around passengers in a chokehold. Now, he kept him there for a length of time while others jumped in to help, and the homeless man ended up passing away. Case got wall-to-wall coverage. Daniel Penny got charged, had his name ran through the mud. I mean, so much coverage on this. There was, riots and protests and all this kind of stuff, right? Very similar to George Floyd. Irina Zarutska's case, though, not total media silence, but pretty freaking close. What's the difference? This right here, color. And it's sad because they're the ones that lead to most of the racist attitude that people have towards each other. They lead the way in this. I mean, by every measurable statistic now, America is less racist than it's ever been. But the way you keep that alive is by highlighting some cases where it seems like one group is being targeted either by police or by people like Daniel Penny, and you make it into essentially a race thing. Instead of saying what it is, you act stupid, you go to harm others, no matter what color you are. Sometimes you make stupid decisions and you win stupid prizes. If the media covered all of these things equally, fair, and balanced, I think you would see even more of a reversal when it comes to race issues. I mean, you guys probably can cite these examples too, but I can tell you in my own circle, I have friends of all different types of colors. We don't care. We joke at each other for who we are and the things we can't change because that's how we grew up, but we don't care. But you know what gets clicks and you know what gets views is if you can get people outraged. If you can make a villain out of MAGA or Trump or people that support Trump, or even make enemies out of the other side, then you reignite that flame. And very few people watch all sides of coverage. They only watch one. So if all you're seeing is white on black crime, then you think that's disproportionately higher than any other, and that group is being targeted. Not realizing that more white people are actually targeted by cops than black people. You throw that statistic out there and it's like, wait, what? You can look it up for yourself. The point is, amongst most of our circles, a lot of our circles anyways, we don't really see race the way the media portrays it. But in some circles, they absolutely do. And I believe this 100%, that on some level, probably all of it, it was definitely race motivated. He didn't go after the guy to his right. He didn't go after the woman that was sitting adjacent to him. He went for the single white girl that you can see, at least in that frame, that sat right in front of him unprovoked. The media has a lot to do with this. I don't believe that we just naturally hate each other. I believe there is a crime issue inside of the black community for sure. But I think that stems from decades and decades and decades. And I've talked about this before of, fathers in the household and, the education system. And there's things that are stacked against all of us. But at a time where technically racism is at an all-time low in America, you shouldn't see things like this. But the media continues to fan that flame, fuel that fire and make sure on some level that we gotta hate each other just enough to keep the stories rolling and keep people clicking. And then to gun owners. If somebody had a firearm on that train, I don't know that they could have stopped this in time. I mean, you see it, man. It happens so quick, unprovoked. I mean, this is one of those situations that's probably the scariest when you think about it. I mean, no matter if you're a woman, if you're a dude, if you use public transport, you're out and about, you go to any kind of event, just knowing that at any second something like this could happen. It definitely highlights the importance of vigilance. What do you see pretty much everybody in this video doing? They're on their phones. This is a constant issue, right? Just look around you. You go by every bus stop in the morning, kids are in their phones. Adults are in their phones. Everybody's on their phone. I look at my phone too. It's not like I don't, right? But in certain situations, it's best to put it away. If you're going to sit in a restaurant, if you're going to sit on public transport, sit at the back. Don't have anybody behind you if you can help it. Make sure you have a clear and open view of what's going on around you. Definitely not blaming the victim here, but just using this as an example that gun owners have to be aware of what's going on. And you got to be careful too, because if this was a federal transport system, then they have rules about firearms, of course. So it's got to be in your check bag. Now this is a Charlotte run tram, so I didn't see any specific laws against concealed carry when it comes to that. But sometimes you got to make the decision that's best for you and your family, if you know what I'm saying. There's also things in North Carolina, they have open carry, and then they have concealed carry, but only with a permit. Their governor vetoed the constitutional carry bill that they had up. Now, Republicans are actually trying to overturn that veto. They might actually end up doing that. But whatever the process is right now in your state, as much as we don't like it, if you don't live in a constitutional carry state, we got to continue to push for that to be passed throughout the entire United States. But whatever the process is for you to conceal carry, gotta do it. It is the only equalizer that we have. You may be a big dude, but there's somebody out there bigger and stronger than you. You may be a small woman. Only chance she ever would have had is a firearm. But of course, she wasn't expecting something like this. Nobody really was. So I'm definitely not blaming her. I'm just saying that bad things happen to good people, and you gotta be more prepared. You don't have to be paranoid, just prepared. It proves that gun bans don't work. If people want to do harm, they'll find any weapon at their disposal. And this is just one of many situations that happens every single day. And until you hold judges accountable, eliminate these cashless bails and no bond systems, and basically catch and release for these career criminals, till the media holds themselves accountable, which, let's just be honest, that's never going to happen. And look, they have a First Amendment right. Say what they want. They're not going to do that. There's basically no law that they're going to be able to pass to protect us. You are your own protector. And awareness, courage, and the right to defend yourself is the only foolproof plan you have to be able to protect yourself. And what's sad is the events that led up to it, right? This girl didn't ask for this guy to be put out on the streets. He was just put there by a judge that said, no, perfect, you're fine. Go back out. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know what you think down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.